Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm going to be doing something that's long overdue. I am going back to the Wii Shop. That's right. Yep. Who's been there in the last decade? Not many people. It's probably been 8 years since I've made a purchase on there. But with the fact that the Wii Shop is shutting down in 2019, there's not much choice. These games that I'm going to pick up are just way too expensive. I've been collecting physical cartridges over the last decade, and the price has only gone up on some of these. And the other situation is some of them are Japan exclusives. So unless you want to you get into the whole buy the original Japanese systems, which I've got some converters and other things, but there's only so far you want to go and not break the bank. So they are you're not going to be able to add points anymore as of March 26th, I think. So really soon. As I'm filming this, it's March 17th of 2018. So I'm going to go on, add some money, some points to my Wii Shop, and I'm going to pick up the last few batch of games. I think I end up spending about $100 when I added them up in advance, and it should be $100 right on the button, which leaves me from buying one last one that I wanted to buy, but it's a Neo Geo title, and Neo Geo, as you know, are coming out on the Switch like mad, so I'm not too worried that I won't be able to get that, and I'm not even sure it's not even on there right now, Shock Troopers, but I also have my brother's Neo Geo. He's left it in my house at my house for the last 6 or 7 years, so I'm pretty sure we've got that on there somewhere. I've probably played it, so I'm not really jonesing for that because there'll be another way. But for the first one, as you can see, I'm picking up Bio Miracle. I remember first seeing this on Game Center CX, and Reno played this, and it looked really cute, really fun, and I had no idea. I didn't even recall that it was on the Wii Shop until I went back and looked, and I was just really pleasantly surprised. This is a Famicom disk system game, and they did make a cartridge eventually, but the disk system game, if you wanted to buy the disk system and a Famicom, the game is going to cost $70. But if you found the rare cart, you're looking at close to $400 to $500. So it's just way out of reach. The other thing I'm noticing here is, have they added new graphics? I recall it was only Mario when I downloaded stuff, and I mean we're talking 2010 probably was the last time I downloaded something, and I can't believe how fast time has gone by. But I remember just being the big Mario going across. So that's pretty cool if they've added that stuff. I mean, maybe they added that when the Wii U came into play, and they have it virtualized on there. And I'm not even sure it's virtualized. I think it might be hardware based, like there's a mini Wii inside the Wii U. So I'm going to pick up some NES games first. That was my first one. The next one I'm going to pick up is Princess Tomato in the Salad Kingdom. It's a kind of a role-playing game. And I've seen some playthroughs and stuff, and it looks really quirky and neat. Some people hate it, but it looks like it's right up my alley. Very quirky, fun, bizarre. So that's another one where it's not too bad. You could probably get it. Too bad, I say. It's almost $90. And that's if you get a good deal. I'm sure you could always win an auction if you're lucky. If you're very lucky, that's somewhere in the $50 range on one of these. But there's so many eyes out on these. I mean, retro gaming has become so popular in the last, I don't know if it's decade really, or the last 5 years particularly. You've got lots of YouTube channels that cater to that, and it's just it's fantastic, all the channels that are out there to watch. It really brings a spotlight to a lot of games that you never knew about, that they were so rare. They never even came out in your area. I mean, I live up in Maine, and some of these games I've never seen in a store. That was another neat little graphic there with the swimming Mario and Luigi. I like that one too. Okay, next is Euphoria, another exclusive to Japan, and it's essentially a platformer. And I have never played it. I have only heard many retro game fans talk about this and say they really enjoyed it. And again, another one that if you're gonna pick it up, you're gonna have to get a converter or a Famicom, and you're gonna end up spending just for the game alone anywhere from $150 to $200. And as you can see here, we got another new graphic, or maybe it's old, but I don't know, where you get a full-size Luigi, which is pretty cool. Well, very retro-looking full-size Luigi. Alright, next we're going to take a peek at some Super Nintendo games. And this one I'm going to look at now is a follow-up to Milon's Secret Castle, which is an NES game that's pretty frustrating. If you don't know all the secrets, you'll never get through it. But this one's Do Re Mi Fantasy, and it's a follow-up, kind of. Not really, because it's totally different gameplay. And this is another platformer, but again, I've played very little bits of it, on emulation. And as I've gotten older, I've really lost the taste for downloading ROMs illegally, so I tend to not do it anymore. And I tend to, if I've had something in the past that I played a lot, and I'm talking back in the 90s and in the early 2000s, I can't think of the last time I downloaded a bit of music or a game illegally. So what I like doing is actually getting money to the actual people that made the game, and this is the only way you can tend to do it. I mean, you can buy physical cartridges, and when you do that, I don't even know, that doesn't even go to the original manufacturers or makers, but that just goes to the people that are flipping them. But this one's supposed to be really good, so I was very happy to see it on here. And another one that, if you're lucky, you'll get it for about $90 to $100, so it's good to have. Alright, now I'm going to go back to a classic that I never owned. I don't have it for my original SNES, and I am never going to have it unless I get incredibly fortunate and get a super deal, because this one also is over $200 for the cartridge alone. So I'm going to pick up Chrono Trigger. I do have it for the DS, and that's fine, but there's nothing like playing the original, so I'm going to give this one a thumbs up for anyone that has not downloaded it before. Next up, we're gonna go with Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon, again, would love to have. I'm a big fan of games that are relaxing, like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing. They remind me that it's good to just take a break once in a while. It reminds me of a time when there wasn't so much stress in life. You just had time to waste. So I always enjoy these, and this is another one I've always wanted. But again, I've got some Game Boy versions and stuff that were affordable, but Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo, way too expensive, over $200 usually. But here's another one, and if you're not catching the theme of this yet, this is how you're gonna enjoy these games. You're gonna have a clear conscience. You're gonna feel good because you actually bought them, but you're not gonna break the bank. All right, here we go. Last 800 points of this $50 purchase, and I am going with Wild Guns. I have never played it, but I've seen plenty of gameplay footage. It looks like a blast. I don't have any games like this that are pretty much a shooter, and I like shmups now. The older I get, the more I like them. You'd think the slower I'd be with my reflexes, they'd just drive me crazy, but I have more and more fun with them every year. So this is more of a behind, you're looking behind someone, maybe I don't know, it's a third person kind of point of view. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but then you see everything in front of that person, and they're kind of targeting things, and it looks like it's fast paced, a lot of action. I have nothing like it, never played anything like it, so I think I'll enjoy this one a lot. And again, another one that's close to $200 or more if you buy it, the physical cartridge. Alright, I've loaded back up. I've added up the numbers. I got another list of games. I've got $50 more and 5,000 points, and I'm going to buy the last handful of games ever for myself. And I'm going to start with a WiiWare title. And I do have a few of the WiiWare titles. I mean, generally I was like, well, whatever, big deal. But I did buy Cave Story way back and finish that, and that was tough. And I think we've got, my daughter was very young, and we bought Pokemon Ranch, which is really corny, but it was just something to try. And now I'm going to purchase, I was very excited when this was coming out, so I don't know why I didn't buy it way back, but this is Mega Man 9. And I don't know if this is even available in any other formats right now. Maybe it is. I can't remember hearing it come out. Maybe it's come out on Xbox or something since. I mean, I can't imagine they have not. But I'm going to go with Mega Man 9, and that'll be a WiiWare purchase, even though it looks just like a classic NES game. Alright, we're going to switch back to the SNES, and I'm going to pick up a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I always had fun with that game, and I'm going to pick up Ghoul Patrol. And what's great is the gameplay is most of the same. It does feel different. The pace seems a little slower. You can definitely, it's a sequel, same main characters, but it plays just different enough that makes it refreshing and fun. And again, this is not standard for Lucas. Usually they focus on their Star Wars games or point-and-click games like Day of the Tentacle, Monkey Island, all kinds of stuff like that. So these are really special games to me. They're super fun. They're very different. And again, very expensive. Well, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is pretty affordable if you want the regular cartridge, but if you want to buy a cartridge version of Ghoul Patrol, you're going to spend about $100. So at least get them on here and save yourself a ton of money and just have a blast and not stress over the cost. Okay, let's switch over to TurboGrafx 16 games, and particularly CD games. And this is not really a TurboGrafx CD game. This is a TurboGrafx, or PC Engine, I should say, Turbo Duo PC Engine CD game. And that's Castlevania Rondo of Blood, and this was not available in America. It did come out, I think, for the Super Nintendo, but it's not quite the same. I just don't think it had maybe the gameplay was a little different. I can't remember, but the important thing was the soundtrack, and if anyone ever had a TurboGrafx 16 in the CD system, you know what I'm talking about. The soundtracks were just amazing and added so much to the game. So this is another no-brainer and exclusive to Japan. Really hard to get, and you're only talking $9 for this one, and otherwise you're spending $200 for the game. You're spending another who knows how much for the system that it's compatible with. So another one of my big picks before the system goes offline is Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Alright, sticking with the TurboGrafx 16, I got one more CD game I'm going to buy, but I also wanted to get the Dragon's Curse. I do have the Switch version of the Dragon's Trap that also reverts back to the look of the Master System game, but I first played this on the TurboGrafx, and even though the gameplay is mostly similar, I like the graphics on this one a little better, and it was just so fun and unique. I have to pick it back up, and when I did my math, I had an extra $6 left over, and not enough to buy a $9 game, but if I was going to have any one game for another $6 on the system, it's going to be the Dragon's Curse. So I don't think you can get this for a really good price anymore either. You're probably spending in the $70-$80 range for Dragon Curse. So another one for $6. It's a no-brainer. You're gonna really enjoy it. It might be a little tricky at first, but once you get through, learning how the game's gonna play, you'll be just fine, and you'll be really happy you did buy it. Now, I'm not sure this is going to be a popular choice, and I don't recommend this as a purchase so much, but it's an expensive game, and it's a shooter. And it's just, I like the soundtrack so much. I had this back when I had the TurboGrafx CD system, and it's not very hard, but it's a fun little shooter, and it's got really great music. This falls in the same vein as when I play Crater Maze. People don't think it's a good game, but I love Crater Maze for the TurboGrafx 16. That's another one that's worth picking up if you want a nice, simple puzzler. But Monster Lair, it's on other systems. It's available in other formats, but because of the CD soundtrack that's on this, it's another must-have for me. A nice, simple, easygoing shooter. It's not going to stress you too much, and maybe will even get you into shoot-'em-ups. I'd imagine this is one of those that qualify under a cute-'em-up instead of a shoot-'em-up. But I haven't found it on any other format, and it's just been so expensive that I have to pick it up before they shut down the system. Alright folks, that's it. I'm down to my last 900 points, and this was a toss-up here, but I had to use a little logic to decide on which one I was going to go with. I was thinking of going with Shock Troopers for the Neo Geo, as I mentioned earlier, and I just decided that Shock Troopers are probably going to be on another system someday. Neo Geo games are constantly being added to good old games or the Switch now. So I decided to go with a Japanese cart, one for the Mega Drive, or on here it's under the Genesis, and that's Monster World 4. And I've never been a real Monster World fan that much, but then I realized, wait a minute, I have a lot of Monster World games, and I play all of them, and I enjoy all of them, and I'm not necessarily in love with them, but I've always been very, very satisfied. So maybe I am a Monster World fan. So that's why I ended up choosing Monster World 4, and I will have no regrets about that as being my final purchase ever on the Nintendo Wii Shop for a final virtual console game. And hopefully, if anyone's watched this video and they've still got a little time left and they see it before the next couple weeks go by and they've got a Wii and they think, you know what, I'll spend another $10, $20, $30, $40. I spent $100, but I got a lot of good games. And I mean, for 100 games that otherwise would have cost me, I don't even know if I bought these individually off eBay or something as cartridges. Some of them were, on average, I think they averaged $150. So that's, $1,500 compared to 100. And I get just as much enjoyment out of them. I'm good with that. So hopefully you've all enjoyed this. I'm going to show you real quick all my downloaded games, because I obviously had purchased some in the past, and I probably just almost doubled what I bought in the past. And I think the reason I didn't buy some of these back then was, these retro game channels just weren't out there talking about these great games yet, so it was hard to know about them. And thanks to all the retro YouTubers out there that have filled us all in on such great games that we never would have known about, and thanks for Game Center CX and the folks that end up subtitling those in English so we can read those and we can see many fantastic games that never came over here in such a fun format. So here's all the games I have. Gunstar Heroes is a must-buy too, anyone that doesn't have it. A lot of these games were really fortunate. I was part of the, the Wii Club? The Club Nintendo, that's what it was. Club Nintendo, and you could earn points when you bought games, and this is when it was different than it is now. And many of the games on here I got, like Paper Mario, Pilot Wings, Smash Brothers on the N64. I got all those for free because I was buying Wii games. So that was really fabulous back then. Now you get discounts, which it's better than nothing, but there's so many games. That's another one probably worth getting is Smash Brothers. If you like Smash Brothers, buy Super Smash Brothers for the 64. From what I understand, the resolution's a little higher than it was on the 64, so that's nice to see. And I've seen it. I mean, right now I've got a Wii U, and it's not modded, but I've bought one of those. It was like $12 for the HDMI adapter, and it looks really sharp. So that's a good upgrade if anyone wants to do that. But that's about it, everybody. Hopefully folks enjoyed the Wii throughout the years. I mean, it's definitely winding down. I mean, another couple weeks to buy points and another year to download those games. I think I'll be looking into seeing how I can archive those games. I'm curious to see if I take out my SD card, load another one up, and then download everything again, if that works as a backup, because, you know, there's always that fear that your SD card's going to crash. So I'll probably be looking into ways to do that, and I'm sure if there isn't as easy a way as that, someone out there will come up with a solution so that, you know, even though you've bought these games digitally and you can't download them again after 2019, at the end of this year, that you'll be able to have access to them again. Someone will figure it out, so they're not lost to time. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully everyone had a great time with the Wii. I think it's, you know, time to retire it and thank Nintendo for over a decade of great fun. So long, everyone.